for many, many years, and it is in Bihar, I think. So, an important place, important monastery. I think Buddha spent most of his time in this particular monastery in Shravasti, and so many of the teachings were given there. Then the Blessed One said, these five obstacles, hindrances that overwhelm awareness and weaken discernment. Which five? Sensual desire is an obstacle, a hindrance that overwhelms awareness and weakens discernment. Ill will, the second. Sloth and drowsiness. Restlessness and anxiety. And uncertainty is an obstacle, a hindrance that overwhelms awareness and weakens the discernment. So these are the five hindrances. So let us be familiar with these five. So sensual desire is called kama chanda. I think we talked about, whenever we see a pleasing object in our senses, we feel like we're wanting it more. Right? So even though we don't have any pleasing objects, based on our previous experiences, we can have an inner tendency for wanting some kind of pleasure. This is very normal, and this is very human actually. But it's simply, if we have excessive form of sensual desire, it simply does not make us happy. Although we think that will bring us happiness, it will not make us happy, and it will also doesn't allow us to be smart or sharp or alert or have more understanding. So simply blunt, making our understanding very blunt. So that's why we need to work with that. It's not something really evil about it, but simply it's not conducive for our peace. It's not helping us. That's all. Otherwise, they are very natural, normal, tendencies. So this sensual desire is like that. Our need to somehow, gratify our senses. We have kind of trained ourselves to somehow always plug into something. One of our senses are always, entertained. And if we don't entertain any of the senses, we feel like, oh, so boring. Right? And because that is why even nowadays, if you don't have anything exciting, your phone is a good replacement. It always will kind of excite you, entertain you. So we always like looking for something that can excite us, can entertain us. If you don't see anything, you want to hear. If you don't hear anything, you want to smell or taste. We move from one thing to the other, always wanting to somehow gratify. And if you don't have anything, we feel really upset about it, and we yearn for it. And we become, in that way, we become completely kind of slave or reliant on this pleasure. So, as I told you, it's not something really evil about it, but this whole yearning for some kind of gratification, some kind of stimulation, is not fulfilling at the end. And also, in that whole process of entertaining or fulfilling, not entertaining and gratifying our senses, we may even do immoral things, something that we may hurt others, or we may even exploit others and exploit resources to just gratify their senses, and so in that way it is not moral also. But at the same time, they may not necessarily give us the actual happiness that we are looking for. So I think sometimes when people sit down for meditation, or when you have nothing to do, we feel very boring. It is because we haven't really experienced a kind of freedom or a joy that we can experience when we are away from any stimulations. So because our understanding of happiness is that we think that to be happy is to be stimulated. To be happy is to be excited. So that's the only version of happiness that many of us are familiar with. Well, of course, that's a form of happiness, and even Buddha call it kama sukha or samisa sukha. in opposite to Niramisa Sukha, Samisa Sukha. So Buddha admitted that that's happiness, but it's a very basic level of happiness. As human beings, we can actually have more higher forms of happiness than these stimulations and gratification. But this is one tendency that we all have. So we can have this even when you sit down for meditation. When you sit down for meditation, we kind of gradually shut down our senses. We don't have anything in our mouth. We don't have any strong smell. We kind of close our eyes or look down. Of course, we will hear sounds, but we don't really try to pay attention to that. So we kind of gradually, narrowing or shutting down our senses, and then in that way, so you feel like you don't have anything that is entertaining in those senses, and so then although there's nothing out there to trigger you, let's say if somebody if you listen to a beautiful piece of music, and that will kind of try to drag you, and then you will feel, okay, I want it more. I want that vehicle to move slowly, so I can listen to that song more, right? So we have feeling of wanting more. Let's say we don't have such trigger anything, but still, when we are shutting down our senses and calming ourselves, inside of our mind we feel like, oh, how good if I can have a nice drink right now. Right? So not necessarily really your body needs something, but you feel like it's something to entertain and access, enjoy, or maybe gratify. You feel like that, or maybe you feel like how good if I can have a really nice nap right now. So you will have all kind of thoughts. Like your mind is like pushing you up. Like the last time our senses are pulling us, but now our internal tendencies are pushing us. So we pushing us a bit. It's better to do this. It's better to do this. I can sit down later. It's better I go and grab some drink. So whatever sensual pleasure, our mind will try to tell us. So when those things happen, we need to catch them, and understand. This is the nature of the mind, and always want something to hang on. Something exciting. But it is not practical, to live such a life. We cannot live a life that always exciting. We cannot live a life that always, having that. And it's also ultimately not satisfying either. So we need to observe it, notice that, urge, and then we will learn what to do with that, later. But to recognize, so whenever now, after we learn about 5 hindrances, when we meditate, and then we have a lot of thoughts, and then usually we notice these thoughts, acknowledge them, and even we say it in our mind thoughts, making that acknowledgement, recognizing it. And then after we learn the 5 hindrances, we even can try to recognize, is it belong to sensual pleasure? Or is it belong to the next one? So we kind of try to categorize them. And when you do such kind of evaluation, those emotions lose their power to overwhelm us, because our discernment, our wisdom, our analysis has more power to see it and to categorize it. So that's what we want to do. So one is sensual desire, simply having some need, some wanting to gratify, something. Yeah. I think people when they talk about boredom, I think people, if they really know how to enjoy when there's nothing to gratify their senses, if they realize the real freedom that they are getting, they may not even call it boredom. Yeah, I don't think that the boredom is something. It's interpretation. It's our interpretation of the time that we don't have any excitement. But that doesn't mean that it's actually boring. It's an opportunity. It's a moment of freedom. If we know how to utilize it, that will be a most joyful moment in our life. It's just because we don't know how to spend those times, utilize them, we call it boredom. Otherwise, there should not be any time that is boring. And then second one is ill will, which is opposition to the sensual desire, kama chanda, and then this one is called vyapada, ill will. Actually, ill will is a stronger form of anger. A stronger form of anger. That means disliking, rejecting, refusing whatever condition that we are in. So we can have ill will towards the present immediate condition. We can also have ill will towards some memory or something happened in the past. So it is. So the sensual desire has this element of wanting, and ill will has this element of refusing, rejecting, and somehow we are unhappy about something, and that can also be a hindrance. That can be a hindrance. It could be, something like it. So ill will is a stronger form of anger, but ill will is something that will appear in our mind as a result of a long process. So usually we will have a slight dislike or disapproval of some situation or some condition, and if you don't pay attention to that dislike, and it will slowly grow into a kind of resentment. And if you're not really seeing it, then resentment can grow into anger, and then later it can become ill will, more like a more enduring state of dislike, enduring state of repulsion. So that's called ill will. So that is another condition that will disturb us. So we can have it, and we can have it in our meditation, or we can also have it, of course, outside of the meditation too. We can have ill will towards a particular person, or we can have ill will towards a particular group, or we can have ill will towards particular condition or situation. Sometimes some people have ill will towards winter, whatever kind of strong repulsion, strong rejection. It's in opposition to acceptance. So we can, in meditation also we can have this. It's more like irritation also. So in meditation you will find it. Maybe someone is coughing. And then you go, why this person is coughing here? So you can have that kind of rejection or repulsion, or maybe someone is making some sounds, maybe someone in like a honk, in the road, and then so honk is only a few seconds, but then you initially develop dislike and then resentment and then anger, and then you are now thinking about it, why this person want to honk like this? Why he can't drive slowly? Who is this person? He should be, the person of that nationality, that category, and those people are always like that. And then when I think about bringing all the memories, similar memories, and that's ill will, right? So even simple irritation can kick, and then we can have all kind of, ill will happening in us, and those things are not giving us any peace, and those thoughts are not helping us to have clear understanding. So it can happen even very slightly, maybe some physical pain, little discomfort, and you dislike it, and you develop resentment towards that, and you can develop, so much, anger about it, and then you will be like always having these resentful thoughts about it. Yeah. So we need to be watchful of those, thoughts, recognizing them, noticing them, and acknowledging them, not denying them, simply acknowledging this. They are normal. There is no something wrong about us, but these are normal. But they are not helpful. So therefore we notice them, we categorize them, and then we can drop them. In this sutta we also find techniques to how to get rid of them. And the next one is sloth and drowsiness, or we call it sloth and torpor, or maybe we call it sloth and torpor. Drowsiness or sleepiness or lethargy. Lethargic nature of the body, lethargic nature of the mind. That's a big obstacle, big hindrance. Because it could be something that you experience in the meditation, it could also be something that you experience outside the meditation. It's mainly like being lethargic, like not willing to try, not willing to go beyond our normal comfort zone. Many people might have planned to come to this meditation retreat, but in the morning, they are this ignorance should have prevented them coming from here. It's like, and so that can be a big hindrance for our development. Also, not willing to like take the pain, take the effort, and do something like beyond our comfort zone. And that's one expression. But in the meditation itself, also we can develop this sloth and torpor and lethargic nature, because meditation is a delicate balance between being relaxed and at the same time being alert. Very difficult to achieve. We can be either having agitated mind, so active, thinking about many things and very alert and active. But if you reduce those, agitation and then the moment your mind is really relaxed and calm, instead of staying relaxed, it will go all the way to sleepiness and drowsiness. So we are either active, hyperactive, or we are completely sleeping and drowsy. We don't know how to stay in the middle. So that's how our mind is. And even, as long as our body is relaxed, mind thinks that, oh, it's time to sleep. So the moment we relax our body and mind think that it's time to sleep, and it will bring all the drowsiness, sleepiness, and everything. And and so we are sometimes we are having a very hard time even sleep in the night. We have a good bed, good pillow, and everything, with the blanket, everything. But even we don't fall asleep. But when you come to meditation, we can sit down and sleep so easily. no comfort, because we relax our body. We relax our body, and then we relax the concerns, in the mind, and then we lose the ability to stay and enjoy that peace. We go all the way to sleepiness. So maintaining that delicate balance is the key. We are relaxed, we simplify our mind, so simple, not complicated, body is relaxed, then we need to enjoy it. To enjoy it, we need strong alertness. That is why it's really important. The posture is very important, like keeping the chin and keeping the balance. It's not really dragging. That's the key. And then, of course, being aware of knowing that the sloth and drowsiness or lethargic nature can attack us. And so this thing can come even in meditation, without our knowing. This is really hard to catch. It comes without our knowing. It's like something that's really invisible. So really hard to be very, very alert. So even if we have some kind of lethargic, some kind of drowsy or sleepiness in the beginning, the earlier you catch it, easy to handle it. And what we can do actually, we don't have to close our eyes. We close our eyes to just make it easy for us, but it's not necessary to close our eyes. So therefore, if you have any, particularly in the afternoon, if you have any kind of sleepiness or drowsiness, and you make sure that your chin is straight, your scalp is balanced, and you can open your eyes and maybe look down. And so keeping our eyes open is important. So or even how Zen people do, just bring your hands up, and then you are more alert. Yeah. And even in Zen meditation, they will gaze the wall and open their eyes, and they don't close their eyes; they open their eyes and gaze the wall. And so if you notice any of such drowsiness come, you need to directly address it and do it, and know that it is an hindrance. It is preventing us from seeing things clearly and also experiencing deep joy. The next one is restlessness and anxiety. This is the opposite of sloth and sleepiness or drowsiness. The restlessness means having so many thoughts occurring one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, so many issues. The mind is thinking about one thing and then another thing, another thing, another thing. It's like your breath is very fast and having this, restlessness in our mind. And then also sometimes anxiety or maybe sometimes regrets, self-blame, and all kind of criticism happening in the mind. So that is another hindrance. It's more like agitation of the mind, but the different kind of thoughts, and then also criticism that occur about even blaming oneself. And so that also can happen. So it's not related to sensual desire. It's not directly related to ill will. Sometimes can be related to some dislike thing, but mainly just simply thinking about things that are not really important now, like having agitated mind about something not really directly relevant to us, but we can have so many thoughts about it. So that's the other one we can have. So like when we think about wandering mind, some days we have more wandering mind than the other days. So when you have more wandering mind, you need to recognize, oh, okay, this is Uddacha, or we call it restlessness, Uddacha. So I'm going through restlessness, so how I can do that? What should I do now? So you should know the proper technique to deal with it. At least noticing it, recognizing it as restlessness is important. The last one is called uncertainty. In Pali we call vicikiccha. It's uncertainty about what we are doing. Uncertainty of questioning or doubting. It's like lack of self-confidence, lack of conviction of what we are doing. That can also be a big obstacle. So when we sit down meditating and you try and then realize that, why I'm doing this? Is it really going to work? If that's the case, why not many people are meditating? And this shouldn't be right. You can have all kind of doubting thoughts about the practice itself. And then even like outside the meditation, you even like question. It's good to question, but through questioning we should come to an understanding and then some kind of stability. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. At least know the map, what's going to happen. Develop some self-confidence. Many people have done it, and this is the path, and I can also walk this path at least to some level. So having that conviction, that confidence and understanding can help us to be certain what we are doing. So uncertain mind, it does not allow us to do anything continuously. So that can also be a hindrance. So these are the 5 mental states that can work against ourselves, against our own practice. So recognizing them is important. So they are, and here Buddha said that actually these things, when we are overwhelmed by these, mental states, what's going to happen? And when a monk has not abandoned these 5 obstacles, hindrances that overwhelm awareness and weaken discernment, when he is without strength and weak in discernment, for him to understand what is for his own benefit, to understand what is for the benefit of others, to understand what is for the benefit of both, to realize a superior human state, a truly noble distinction in knowledge and vision, that is impossible. So we will not be able to have a clear understanding when these things attack us. Okay, let's move to the other one. So I like the simile of the Buddha, and it's really, Buddha is using similes to bring the message very forcefully. I remember the image of 6 animals. And I hope that you will remember that, that image, in your life. Whenever you are being pulled by one of the senses, oh, okay, crocodile is dragging me, a snake is dragging me, remember that, and then be aware of it and, have a second thought about it, and do I really need it, because all the advertisement companies are trying to do is that they try to drag you, right, and then, so but you can save yourself. So let's read the simile. Can I have a volunteer to read this simile in the other page? Suppose
there was a river flowing down from the mountains, going far, its current state, carrying everything with it. And the man would open channels leading away from it on both sides, so that the current in the middle of the river would be dispersed, diffused, and dissipated. It wouldn't go far. Its current wouldn't be swift, and it wouldn't carry everything with it. In the same way, when the monk has not abandoned these 5 obstacles, hindrances that overwhelm awareness and weaken discernment, when he is without strength and weak in discernment for him to understand what is for his own benefit, to understand what is for the benefit of others, to understand what is for the benefit of both, to realize a superior human state, a truly noble distinction in knowledge and vision. That is impossible.
Okay.
Now, when the monk has abandoned these 5 obstacles, hindrances that overwhelm awareness and weaken discernment, when he is strong in discernment, for him to understand what is for his own benefit, to understand what is for the benefit of others, to understand what is for the benefit of both, to realize a superior human state, a truly noble distinction in knowledge and vision. That is possible.
Thank you. Thank you. So the simile given here is actually when there's a strong current of water, a river, a strong current of water flowing into one direction. If someone were to dig some channels and then let the water disperse and go into all different directions, the force of the current of the water will be diminished because it's flowing to all different directions. And so in the same way, Buddha is saying that we have an ability to understand things, to realize things, to penetrate into deep reality. But when we have these hindrances, our energy is kind of diminished because we have to it's going to all different kind of directions. It's almost like if we are familiar with computers, so it's almost like when we have so many viruses working in the computer, it can take a lot of memory power and energy of the computer. It becomes slow, right? Slow. You cannot really do things properly and very quickly. So that same kind of effect. Here is that we have the sharp ability to see through, but it has been diminished by these 5 hindrances. So really, once we can remove our mind from all these hindrances, then it becomes so sharp. The river, we can be so forceful. So the next symbol is given that all these channels are closed, so that water will flow into one direction without any trouble. So it will carry all the way. So in that way, we'll be able to develop deep understanding of our own life. So that is the simile. So that shows that how these hindrances actually hinder our clear understanding. But not only that, these things also hinder our joy or peace. So the next one is about that. So we will not read the whole thing. You can actually take this paper at home. You can bring it home and read leisurely again and again to uncover more meanings in this each this course. But I would like to go to the simile section here. In this sutta, you can turn to the next page. Here also Buddha talks about these 5 hindrances: sensual desire, ill will, sloth and drowsiness, restlessness and anxiety, and uncertainty. So Buddha said that if a monk would make effort and then try to make his mind free from these hindrances, what kind of freedom, what kind of relief that monk would experience. So Buddha is giving kind of similes. So did you turn to the next page? Like just as when a man taking a loan, in the second paragraph.
Just as when a man taking a loan engages in a trade and his trade succeeds, he now not only disposes of his own debt, but he has also beyond that a surplus for maintaining a wife, and at that he rejoices, is glad at heart.
Okay, so this is kind of explanation how when we are overwhelmed by sensual desire, it's almost like taking a loan. You know, it's a big burden, right? Big burden, and so somehow, you know, managing to overcome from the force, from the impact of the sensual desire, and let it go and be okay without having any stimulants, you know, in front of us. It's almost like paying off a loan. That kind of relief. Oh, it's finally paid off, you know. Right? Yeah. So that's kind of relief that one will experience as a result of being able to be away from, you know, sensual pressure. The next simile, can someone else read that? Yeah.
Just as when a man is sick and in pain, suffering from a grave disease, his food does not agree with him, and he has no strength left in his body. But sometime later, he recovers from that sickness. He can again digest his food, and he regains his strength, and that he rejoices, is glad at heart.
Okay, so this is the simile that is given to ill will. So when we are overwhelmed by ill will, it's almost like we are suffering from a sickness. When we are sick, you don't feel the taste of the food. You don't enjoy anything pleasant. When you are sick, you can't. So in the same way, when you are really overwhelmed by ill will and anger, you don't really, you know, be able to eat well, right? You don't be able to do many things well. So if we manage to overcome this ill will, and it's almost like a recovering from a disease. That kind of, you know, freedom and relief. So that's the kind of relief that we'll get. So I think because we are so accustomed to these hindrances, we think that's normal. That's normal. But actually, we can have more relief than that. You know, that's what we experience in meditation retreats. You know, otherwise, I always think that, you know, thinking angrily about someone always is very normal, right? And deciding something always is very normal, and we think that is the life, that is the kind of peace. But, you know, when you come to a retreat and, you know, recognize those things and use techniques like at least live away from them at least for a few hours, and you enjoy a different kind of release. It's like, you know, let's say, you know, you in your shoes, without you knowing, there was a small stone, and it's always kind of, you know, always it's there, always poking you. Always you have that, you know, kind of pain. But, you know, you didn't know that is a stone there. You kind of accustomed to that. You always, you know, think that, you know, wearing shoes is, you know, having this pain also, right? And it's just one day you realize that actually it is a stone, and you remove that stone. And now you wear the shoes without the stone. Oh, how good I'm feeling now. So until then you don't really realize that there's such a state of such that relaxation. So in the same way, because we are so accustomed to, you know, have these emotions always running in us, you don't really see the relief from that. So we really have to at least get some few hours to experience that. Okay, let me read the next one. Just as when a man has been thrown into prison, but sometime later he is released from prison, he is safe and without fears, and he did not suffer from any loss of property, and that he rejoices and is glad at heart. So this is talking about lethargic nature, sloth and drowsiness. Like person who is in prison is someone who cannot travel, who cannot move around, and people who are lethargic are just like in the prison. They don't like to go out. They don't like to try new things. They just want to be within that cage, within their comfort zones. It's almost like in the prison, right? So they think that that's the life. Living in the prison is the life. Yeah, but once you recognize this sloth and torpor and find a way to overcome them, and you realize, as an individual, I have this, effort. I have this, energy that I can put forward. I can explore new things. I can have, new effort. So it's almost like, being free from prison. So sometimes we can have our own prisons. Right?
Yeah, COVID time.
Yes, right. We were in our own prisons, right? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And let's see the next one. Just as when a man is a slave, not independent but dependent on others and unable to go wherever he likes, but sometime later he's set free from slavery. And now he's independent and no longer dependent on others, a free man who can go where he wants. And at this he rejoices and is glad at heart. This is interestingly a simile that is given to be free from restlessness and anxiety. It's like being a prison, and being a slave is worse than being a prison, right? Maybe you can, prison you have to be in the specific, environment, in a short, limited environment. And as a slave, maybe you'll be able to walk around, but you don't have freedom. You cannot do whatever you like to do. You cannot go wherever you like to go. Everything is decided by someone else. So when you're overwhelmed by restlessness and anxiety, are like incessant thoughts occurring again and again and again. We are slaves to those thoughts. And actually this is very common in us. If you don't really recognize these thoughts as simply thoughts, if you give more value to them, if we start to believe our thoughts, this is one big mistake we do, because thoughts occur to us based on our habitual tendency, our prior conditionings. But whenever a thought occurs in us, we tend to believe it. It's one thing to occur a thought, it's another thing to believe it. Just because it occurs in our mind, we don't have to believe it. Right? And we believe it and we claim ownership to it, we defend it, right? But it's simply occurrence of a thought, based on prior conditioning. So therefore, we can have thoughts, but don't take thoughts very seriously. Like notice them and don't take them seriously. Don't necessarily believe all of them. And what's going to happen if you take them seriously, or we start to believe them, and maybe we will strengthen those patterns of the same thoughts, and then later we become a victim to our own thoughts and become like a slave. I have found people that that I try to help are people who are going through some kind of mental, psychological disorders, and some kind of extreme forms of, issues. So what I found that actually physically they are okay, and sometimes even their family is trying to help them, very supportive, but somehow their thoughts, the way their thoughts occur to them, and it's really so forceful, they cannot get rid of that. Either they think only about the negative and they feel so depressed, no matter how families try to help them, still they somehow find only the negative thing and they only think about that. And so we can see that how one can become a slave to one's own thoughts. So those people who are having those issues are actually not very different from us. They just have it a little bit more than we have it. We also have them, right? But we just can manage it a little bit, We can hide them, we can manage it. But we also have those tendencies. We have tendencies for depression, we have tendencies for OCD, all kind of tendencies are still present here. But somehow, fortunately, they are not that strong. We haven't maybe fed them, maybe our life experiences haven't triggered them. So we kind of manage them. but but we are not very different. So therefore, learning these techniques is so important to be free from those thoughts.
Yeah, but I think in the material world today, in today's world, it's difficult. I know what you're saying, because I live in a gated community in Florida, and I meditate a lot, and I see I'm being followed by the law.
Followed by?
I am being followed by the law in Florida. We have security in our community, and it's not my mind. I meditate a lot, and then when I can see, because I'm sitting in one spot, that in their sick mind, they're thinking I'm doing something. So now they start to follow me wherever I'm going. So this really can affect you mentally, but I meditate a lot.
So you can manage it.
I'm able to see what they're doing.
And not being controlled by them.
The law, and they're totally harassing innocent people there, because it's the law now. So if you're not powerful, like you said, you will go down. So it's a lot of meditation.
Can help you, right? Yeah.
Only meditation, I see that I'm empowering them. So they're the one that's burning the karma while I'm watching them following me and running me around. Because they don't know anything about meditation and what I'm doing. So they want to know what I'm doing by the lake for 2 or 3 hours.
They don't understand, right?
They're sick mind, and this is the sheriff and the law, and they're sick mind, and they were a big magnifying glass. I'm not losing my mind. They were a big, what do you call them, lens, that they can see me from across a distance, and I can see them because I'm meditating with a light flashing straight on me. So I'm not losing my mind.
But you can save yourself.
They will make you feel that you are losing. So people's mind can be messed up very easily. They intimidated me for a while, but I realized I have to be stronger. I must empower and try to be tough here. And really,
So I'm very glad that you found meditation.
Meditation to overcome these crazy people. They want to make you crazy, and they're making themselves crazy.
Yeah.
This is what goes on.
So everyone is in trouble, right?
Yeah, everyone's in trouble.
Okay. Let's do the next one actually, and then Buddha said here, just as when a man rich and prosperous travels through a wilderness, and where there is no food and much danger, but sometime later he has crossed the desert and gradually reaches the safety and vicinity of a village, a place of safety free from danger, and at that he rejoices and is glad at heart. So this is a simile for overcoming uncertainty. We are in the uncertainty of Vichikicca. It's almost like we have lost in a forest. We don't know where to go. We are lost, in complete disoriented, and it's also full of dangers, and you don't know which path to take. And so, but somehow through reading more Dhamma, listening to more Dhamma, and doing more self-examination, and you get an idea. Okay, there's a path, and this is the way it happens. It's a gradual path. If I do this, it will lead to this. If I do this, it will lead to this. So you get kind of idea, and some clear idea, and then maybe some confidence when you see how other people are practicing. So once you have that, now you have a path. So it's just like you are lost for a while in the wilderness, and somehow you found a path that leads to a village. And then now you are I can see light, I can see a footpath, footprints, I can see some sign of the village. So you feel like, okay, I'm not lost. I'm sure that if I walk in the direction, I will find a village. So that kind of confidence, that kind of clarity we need, in our meditation practice. Okay, so those are the 5 hindrances, and what would they say that so similarly, as long as these 5 hindrances are not abandoned in him, a monk considers himself as indebted, as ailing, as imprisoned, as enslaved, as traveling in a wilderness. That's how normal people. But when the 5 hindrances are abandoned, he considers himself as free from debt, rid of illness, emancipated from prison's bondage, and free a man, and one arrives at a place of safety. So, when he sees himself free from these 5 hindrances, joy arises in him. In him who is joyful, rapture arises. In him whose mind is enraptured, body is stilled. The body being stilled, he feels happiness, and happy mind finds concentration. This is a very important statement. A happy mind finds concentration. We try to concentrate our mind forcefully, focusing too much on one object, and try to, with full effort, we try to concentrate our mind. Effort is important, but very important ingredient for us to have samadhi, real tranquility, stillness, or concentration, is to develop happiness. Happiness that is not related to sensual pleasures, but happiness that we experience as a result of getting rid of all these heavy emotions, getting rid of and then the joy that we get as a result of release, and the joy of release, and some kind of wholesome joy is the step towards real concentration. Otherwise, forceful concentration will not occur. It will sometimes maybe give us headaches too, if we try too hard. So it should come from a joy, some kind of uplifting, relaxing joy. That is why loving kindness meditations and meditation on the qualities of the Buddha, and reflecting one's some moments of our own kindness, and those things can be really uplifting emotions that can lead us to real concentration. So I think these days, when we meditation practice, we have somehow ignored this aspect, and because we think that all emotions are wrong. So, but what Buddha said, the 5 hindrances are disturbing us, but not the other emotions. Other wholesome emotions can really help us and lead us to real calmness, real samadhi. So that's what we want to achieve. Okay. So there's one more to discuss, but I think since we want to do some more meditation, but I will just summarize, for you that, so these 5 mental states are very common. They will occur to us. What we have to do is actually first to recognize them. So now, when you sit down for meditation, if you have wandering mind, and even when you're walking down, if you have many thoughts occurring, so first thing we need to do, it's okay to have the thoughts occurring in our mind. That's okay. It's the secondary thoughts that we want to stop. So as soon as you notice a thought, you are thinking about something, you are remembering something, and you quickly have to acknowledge it, and even say in your mind, oh, thoughts, 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 thoughts. Just say it a few times in your mind, thoughts, 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 and then thought will lose its power. And next moment, again another thought will come, but it's still, again you say thoughts, thoughts, thoughts. The moment you say thoughts, 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 you are not in the thought actually, you are kind of above the thought. You are in the more side of the mindfulness rather than in the thought. But you can also add another thing, because with the understanding of 5 hindrances, you say thought, 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 and you can see whether it's related to liking, or is it related to wanting more? Is it related to like ill will? Is a resentment or rejecting something? Is it about restlessness? Is it about lethargy? Is it about uncertainty? So you kind of categorize that. So first you say thought, 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 and you see the general nature of thought and categorize it. Oh, it is sensual desire. It is ill will. It's our part. So make that evaluation, and then come back to the meditation. Okay, so when you do that, you can be free from that. Okay, so with that, we will start our walking meditation. Particularly in the afternoon, it is much better do a walking meditation. Otherwise, even we are sitting, we will be doing sleeping meditation. So we will walk. We'll do walking meditation, but we will combine our walking meditation to our sitting meditation. So we are going to. I'm going to teach you some walking steps, and we are going to walk about for 40 minutes, and then we will come back to our sitting meditation, and we'll continue for 30 minutes. So we kind of combine walking and sitting to help us to go into deeper meditation. Okay. So I will show you some steps to do walking meditation. Have you done walking meditation before? Okay, yeah, so we can do that. So can we all stand up, and so I will just show you how I do it, and you can follow whatever you like. And so let us try to do this meditation inside this hall. Okay, not going outside. Outside will be very hot today. So maybe we can go even to the other floors, but inside the building. So actually we need a passageway, some passageway that we can walk back and forth. Maybe you can, we have areas on the other side. Okay, try to find a passageway that you don't, block someone else. So I would like to suggest maybe, we can start from the beginning of the wall and come to the middle of the hall and then turn back. So you can have your own passageway that you start from the corner and come to the middle and then turn back and walk back. So we'll only be walking this way, so we'll not crossing each other's path. So we'll only walk this way, not this way. So that will be one option. So how we can do actually the walking meditation? So first, you stand firmly, and then you want to keep your hands not moving, because our goal is to bring our attention to our feet. So we want to feel more feet than the hand. So therefore, we can either grab our finger of the left hand by our right hand, and then rest our left palm on the top of the right palm, and then simply rest them below our navel. This is one way we can keep our hands. Or maybe if this is difficult, we can also try to bring your palms behind and try to hold them. And this is one way. Try see which one is more convenient for you. So once you have that hand placed, and you keep your eyes open, but you gaze your eyes about 5-6 feet ahead of you. So keep your eyes open and just simply gazing 5-6 feet ahead of you. So looking at the path, but we are not really paying attention to what we are seeing. We are paying attention to the sensation of the foot. So just like in the morning, we train our mind to be in the body. We catch subtle sensation of the clothes and pressure, everything. In the same way, we are going to pay attention to our feet and observe how the feet is touching the ground, how it is transferring the weight of the body, and then when it is lifting, how we feel the relaxation of the muscles. And we want to experience all these details happening in the foot, and not to be in the mind, but to be in the body. Okay, so we can, when you sit like this, you can gently lift your foot and see the relaxation of the muscles you will experience. Can we walk a little bit and see, once you lift your foot, you can feel the relaxation of the muscles. And when you place your foot, you can see the first sensation of the touching, and then the pressure, how the muscles are pressed. So we can see lifting, touching. So when you lift, you feel relaxation, and when you touch, you feel touch sensation and the pressure. So that will be where our attention is. So what you can do, so start with one corner, and then bring in the full awareness to the feet, just like we did in the morning. Feel all the sensation and the pinky side, the behind, everything, and rest. And then with full awareness, you walk slowly. We can later walk in a normal pace, but in the beginning, we try to walk slowly to help ourselves to catch all the sensations. So in your mind you can say lifting, touching. Okay. Lifting, touching. So when you say lifting, experience the relaxing sensation. And when you say touching, experience the touch and the pressure. So you can continue to say lifting, touching, and follow the sensation. Once you reach the end, and you take your time to turn, you don't turn abruptly. You stand for a while, and then you slowly turn. You turn in few steps, and then walk back. So try to find a passageway that you don't, disturb someone else's passageway. You can move a little bit and then, find your own passageway. And just simply continue to walk back and forth. I will ring the bell at the end of the 40 minutes. And then you simply continue your walking meditation to your seat. So continue lifting, touching, lifting, touching, lifting, touching, lifting, touching, lifting, touching. Be in the body, paying full attention to the feet. Once you come to the end, take a moment, rest, and turn in steps slowly and come back. Continue your walking meditation to your seat. Maintain the same pace, same awareness, and slowly continue your walking meditation to your seat. Let us adjust our seat, finding a nice balanced posture. Keeping our chin straight. We will now maintain this awareness of the body. Take a moment to explore the sensation in your feet as a result of our walking. You may still have some residual sensations in your feet. Just take a moment to notice that. And then enhance that awareness throughout the body, just making a note of the general outline of this body, how this body is sitting here exactly. If someone were to draw an outline of this posture of this body, how it would like to be, how that outline would look like. And feeling our hands, our palms and fingers wherever they touch now. Feeling our upper body. With this awareness of the body, let us go into deep meditation. We'll do a short loving kindness meditation and meditation on breathing. But our body awareness is the beginning. Today we learned that how many people are victims or vulnerable to experience suffering, and how they are not really free, how many people are being pulled by senses and various stimulants, how they are being imprisoned by their own mental tendencies. So everyone is vulnerable to experience suffering. Let us develop a deep empathy towards all living beings. As long as they don't realize these deep truths, they'll continue to experience suffering. We don't know how many rounds of suffering that they will go through. Very easily we can be irritated, very easily we can be obsessed, very easily we can be addicted to so many things, and very easily we will lose our freedom and happiness. Let us make a genuine wish that may all people and all beings be able to realize these deep truths and overcome from this suffering. May all people be well. Be mindful. Be kind. Be peaceful. Please repeat these good wishes in your mind. May all people be well. Be mindful. Be kind. Be peaceful. May all people be well. Be mindful. Be kind. Be peaceful. Let us expand this wish beyond human beings to all other beings, all animals, all other visible and invisible beings. They are also vulnerable to experience irritations, addictions, enslavement, suffering. Let us genuinely wish for all of them to find a way to overcome from this suffering. May all beings be well. Be safe. Be mindful. Be kind. Be peaceful. May all beings, whatever life forms there may be, let us wish for each and everyone, whatever life, whatever living being, be well, be safe, be mindful, be kind, be peaceful. Let us maintain this wish, this goodwill, this loving kindness, this willingness for everyone to be free from suffering, everyone to have happy minds. May all beings have happy minds. May all beings have happy minds. May all beings have happy minds. Let us make this wish in Pali language. May all beings have happy minds. Sabbhe sattha bhavantu sukhi tatta. Sabbhe sattha bhavantu sukhi tatta. Sabbhe sattha bhavantu sukhi tatta. Chant with me. Feel free to pronounce. Feel the vibration. Maintain this genuine wish for all beings to have happy minds, genuine happy minds. So chant with me. Sabbhe sattha bhavantu sukhi tatta. 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 Sabbhe sattha bhavantu sukhi sattha bhavantu sukhi tattha. Let it repeat in your mind. May all beings have happy minds. May all beings have happy minds. May all beings have happy minds. Let's chant again. Sabbe sattha bhavantu sukhi tattha. 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 With this loving kindness, let us now gently bring our attention to our breath. We are going to maintain our mind free from all hindrances, free from all other stimulations. The more we keep our mind free from these hindrances and stimulation, it will experience a kind of relief, kind of peace, a joy of relief, a break and rest, a more simplicity, lightness in the body and mind, relaxation in the body and mind. We will continue to maintain our mind free from those hindrances and stimulations. With loving kindness, we created such a mind. Let us deepen this peace by bringing our whole attention to our breath. Take a moment to feel your breath. Maybe in the beginning, we can lengthen our breath to feel it clearly. Okay, feel free to take a slow, long breath in. Just feel the air through the nostrils. Take a long one. Feel it in the behind your throat, the cooling sensation in the back of the throat. Feel it in your lungs, chest, belly. When you breathe out, feel the relaxation of the body and the warm air coming through the nostrils. Sometimes we feel the outgoing air is touching our upper lips. Sometimes we feel it, sometimes we don't feel it. Just take 10 long breaths. You let the breath comes in, fill your lungs, and release that air very slowly. Releasing, observing all the sensation in the nostrils, the lips area. That is one. Take the next one and release it slowly. This is 2. Continue all the way to 10. Continue all the way to 10. Taking a long breath, feeling it fully, releasing it. Once you reach 10, maybe you can let go of a long breath, let go of the counting 2. You can let the normal breathing, the natural breathing to occur. But we pay close attention to the movement of the air, exactly how the air is moving through our nostrils to the lungs and how it changes the belly. And we will also pay close attention how the air is going out. This breath is happening right now. It is truly happening. This breath is the proof that we are alive. Without breathing, everything else becomes meaningless. And breathing is the most important vital function that enables our life living. With deep respect and gratitude, let us continue to observe our breath. This is the meditation that allowed many sages, many enlightened monks to have a deep realization in their lives. And we are doing the same in front of the statue of the Buddha. Continue to pay close attention to the sensation of the breathing. Just like many other sages, enlightened monks did, we are also sitting in the same posture, paying attention to the breath. With joy, continue to be with the breath. Feel it as close as you can. We know mind has other thoughts or memories. Let it have it, and notice those thoughts, memories as simply thoughts, and see whether that thought is belong to one of the hindrances, and then quickly come back to the breath. Let us keep doing it for next few minutes. These last few minutes, let us give our full effort to be with the breath, with deep respect to our breath as the bedrock of our life. We will continue to explore the breath, feel the breath, be with the breath. May all those who are suffering be free from suffering. May all those who are in fear be free from fear. May all those who are grieving be free from grief. May all beings be well and happy. Let's gently come out of the meditation. Let's put our palms together and take a moment to feel deeply grateful for this opportunity to have peaceful meditation. Let us feel deeply grateful to our Supreme Buddha for giving us such wonderful techniques and wisdom. Let us feel grateful to all great teachers, enlightened masters in the past, who passed this wisdom from generation to generation. Let us also feel grateful to anyone who helped your practice this afternoon, anyone who enabled this practice, and even feel grateful to these non-living things, including the cushion, the bell, the cooling system, and everything. With deep gratitude, let us say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, that was a long session. Any sharings or questions? Any sharings or questions?
You mentioned as an hindrance getting away from phone videos, social media.
Say again?
To get away from social media, people go to social media, they go to their phones. Out of boredom. I do the same thing. Knowing not to do that would be freedom, to use the word freedom. But in the conditioned place that I'm at in the past, let's say 10 years, it's boring. So it's like trying to get used to something that you're not used to. So therefore the unknown, I'm not afraid of the unknown, but it's boring.
Right.
You know, so how do I cross that bridge from putting the phone down to understanding freedom?
Yeah. I think understand freedom and also like find something differently joyful to do. As when put away the phone, don't just stare, and then like watch the breath and be grateful to the body and be grateful to whatever surrounding you. So it is not like entertaining or stimulating the senses, but more like coming inward and find something that's deeply joyful. Not exciting, but deeply joyful. It could be like even like experiencing the breath and then feeling grateful to lungs for absorbing this air and energizing the whole body. Just coming to the body and feeling grateful would be one way that you will not feel bored, but you will not feel excited, but yeah, cool. Yeah, nice. And so in that I think feeling grateful, and try to find something more beneficial. Yeah. I mean, it's no harm of in doing this, but just we don't have to be obsessed by them. Okay, I think it is our break time. So you can take a short break. You can, if you want to drink something and grab something to drink. And Bhante, drinks are arranged, right?
Yes, yes. Tea, coffee, or juice, or Coca-Cola, or whatever.
They are arranged in the basement.
Yeah. And you'll be big.
Yeah. So you can slowly walk, and remember that we have observed those precepts. Okay, so be watchful of your speech, and try to minimize the speech and have something to drink and use restrooms and relax and stretch and come back in 15 minutes. We do the last session. be well and happy. Sukhi hotu. Forgiveness. This is something we hear a lot, which is hard, but whenever we can forgive, we feel such a release in our mind. Actually, forgiving is putting down a burden from our heart. People make mistakes in the heat of the moment. Sometimes they may not do those, sometimes they may not do those mistakes intentionally. Of course, there can be intentional harm also. But carrying that memory, carrying that burden is not helping ourselves or any others. It's a training. It's gradually training our mind to let go of that burden for our own well-being. But today what I'm going to talk about is not really forgiving others. What I have found in my life, in my own experience, and with, of course, talking with other people, that forgiving ourselves is harder than forgiving others. Sometimes we can forgive others easily, but when you think about some mistakes that you did, we find it's very hard to forgive ourselves. I remember when I was a young monk, I was very close with a very elderly person, and that person came to our temple, and he's an artist. He was a sculptor, so he made statues. So he was very close to me. So I used to be around him when he made those statues. But he was quite elderly, and is like a grandfather to me. So in our conversations one day, he made a special request from me. This is an extraordinary request. He told me that maybe the day that I pass away, I want you to be in my funeral. As a young monk, I didn't really understand the value of his request. So the time passed on, and after about maybe 8 years, I was studying the college, and I got the news that this elderly person, this artist, passed away. I barely remembered that he made the request for me to come to his funeral. But at that moment, I decided not to attend the funeral because, of course, I was busy with my studies. I had to prepare for an exam. So in that moment, I decided not to attend that funeral. But later, I was having these regrets, this feeling that how bad was I not to attend the funeral, not to fulfill his request he made from me a few years ago. This was a memory that really bothered me for a while, and time to time, that memory will surface. I feel regret, and I feel very bad about myself. Sometimes I feel angry about myself, and it was hard for me to really let go and forgive that mistake I did. I started to contemplate and examine and investigate this feeling. What is this feeling? So I realized that actually, of course, I have sadness that I made that decision. I couldn't attend his funeral. But at the same time, I realized that my regrets and this feeling bad comes from a kind of judgments that I'm making to myself. Rather than allowing that sadness to come and experience sadness, I'm also doing some rational judgment about myself, that I was not a good person. So I was using some ideals and blaming myself for not being able to live by that ideal of being a good person or a good monk. So I realized that there's a judgment related to that, and there's also actual sadness. So if I allow that sadness to come to my mind, and if I experience that is much easier. But when the judgment mind comes and starts judging myself, and that is harder. So regrets is related to that kind of judgment that come into my mind. I realized that. So what I was doing, that I was slowly letting this sadness to come, and then not to make any judgments about myself. Because when we have that judgments, of course we unnecessarily expecting ourselves to live by impossible ideals. It's natural that we make judgments. Of course, we have to acknowledge our mistakes, but we should accept it and not let that mistakes to be a cause of our worrying. So there's a big difference between acknowledgement and regrets or worrying. Acknowledgement is a genuine acceptance of what you have done, your mistakes, what causes and conditions put you to make that decision, and making a determination not to repeat them. So genuinely accepting it. But regrets is simply letting that memory to come to your mind and making judgments about yourself and keep it replaying in your mind without really making any good progress or even making any determination. So we should acknowledge our mistakes, but we should not keep on regretting or keep on worrying about things happen, because when we keep on regretting, what we are really trying is actually we are creating a false notion of self. When we have a rigid notion of self, we have regrets, and our regrets also enhance or feed our rigid notion of self. Our mistakes happen in the past, and we ourselves are not a fixed entity. We are a flow. So our life is not a fixed entity, it is a flow. So our mistakes are the instances happen in the past. Of course, we need to acknowledge them and being determination not repeat them. But we should not create a strong identity with those moments in the past. Life continues to flow. So those things happen, but we are in a different place now. So we should not try to fix our past, because we can't. So instead, we should focus on the present and try to manage our present. And then we can actually forgive ourselves. We can forgive ourselves because ourself is still a work in progress. Our life is not over yet. We can still continue to grow, continue to change. Whatever happened in the past has happened. We can't change the past, even ourselves. And whoever in the past, the self that was in the past is not really the self right now. Of course, it's a continuation, but we can move forward. So we can forgive, or we can let go our old self, and then accept the new self right here and start to continue that. So if you do that, you will feel such a release. And if the person is present, that the person, we can go and say sorry. If we hurt someone, definitely after we realize that we had done mistake, we can definitely go and say sorry. But some mistakes can never be corrected, never be rectified, like the mistake that I did. I will never be able to rectify that in a strict sense, because the funeral is over. He's no more here now. But I can do so many other good things in His name. I can make a determination not to ignore any such request in future. And I can forgive my old self who was not mindful enough, not compassionate enough, or focused too much on my study. But I can forgive my old self. Now I am not the same self. So when I do that, I feel such a release, and then it allows my mind to be more attentive to current needs of other people. If I keep on worrying on that thing or regretting, even I may not have space or room in my mind to listen to the new request that is coming. So finally I was able to like forgive myself for that mistake. I forgive my old self actually. And then it is a good lesson for me to pay more attention, more attentive to the needs of others. So we are a work in progress. Let us focus on the present. We will not try to fix our past. Thank you. May you be well and happy. Okay, welcome back to our last session. Yes, actually now we have some minutes for question and answers. So I have been talking and we have been practicing, but by now you should have some some questions that you like to ask, maybe something that you like to know more, maybe something that you like to carry in your daily life. So this is the time for it. To ask any questions you like to ask and clarify things, and before we do the last session. So, anyone? Yes.
I've been meditating for many years, and I very rarely have thoughts come to me. Nothing arises, but I get lights. I mean, they're pleasant. I immerse myself in the lights, but I feel stuck there.
Yes, that happened. That happened. Actually, this seeing the light or colors can happen because one way is actually when our mind is like trying to go beyond our normal, usual sensory feel. So it's more like we will see those colors and lights. But then we should simply consider them as like signposts, but to continue our journey, because our goal is not, because we have an object of meditation that we want to pay attention to. It can be loving kindness, could be body awareness, could be breath. So that's the main goal. So that's where we want to stay. And if we manage to stay long enough in that in that object, and then we will see some. If it is like a light, like a white light, it kind of, that is more like a reflection of the mind itself. So in that case, if we are not skillful, instead of focusing on the breath, we may be moving our attention to that light, because that can be so powerful, and then we lose the meditation, right? So if we notice that, okay, recognize, okay, this shows that I'm doing it right, and then let me continue back to the breath, because yes, because our goal is, because there's more relaxed, more light states that we can move beyond that. So therefore we should see them as signposts, but don't focus on that. Continue. So come back to the main object of meditation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Any other questions about meditation or Dhamma?
I find that meditation does help to empower you, but as soon as you go out into this material, physical environment, everything just like you said, the senses, the eyes can see, the ear can hear, and you can feel. So where will you be? And so you do feel all these big things around us. Sometimes you can get carried away with the outer scenes out there. So I feel like we just finished meditation, and here we go, and something to come into your way, some obstacle is going to come in. Like I meditate, almost 20 years I've been meditating to free mind. I try to free myself from all the attachments around that. I worked my way to get to that point. When I got to this point, something came in. Not long ago, 2.5 years, but most of my life I said, God is real to me. But I think the more I meditated, the more I seem to get it. I go out there and this obstacle came in.
So your question is that how we can handle
I try to
outside of the meditation, how we can handle all the obstacles.
Yeah, well, inspiration. I totally.
Yeah.
I think that came in from nowhere. My whole entire life that I've lived, only because I have worked my way to where I am today. To be free from working, from just retired, and this is where I see I got trapped. Even though I meditate, well, I had to meditate even more.
Yeah, I think, the freedom that we want to experience is not only something that we experience within the meditation time. We should learn how to utilize whatever skills that we develop right here into our daily interaction with others. I'm not sure exactly how we can do it. So you have to figure it out. But it's not really like meditation is not something like escaping all the problems and troubles. I have come somehow like a secluded place. I enjoy the fullest. When I go back, I'm again back to that troubles. But the real meditation doesn't work like that. So we come to a more protective environment, and then we train our mindfulness, our ability to watch our own thoughts, our ability to choose our words when we speak rather than impulsively reacting. So we develop these skills of mindfulness and ability to stay centered, even though there are arguments happening, there are many attractive things are happening, you kind of stay anchored in the body. So when we develop those skills, so when we go out, we still have to talk to people, interact with people, do our jobs and everything, but we do it with conscious awareness. We say things out of by choosing the words. Normally we say things not really thinking about it, right? Impulsively. And we do things like impulsively reacting to the situation, not really choosing what to say. So what meditation does is that actually it kind of gives us a choice. Before we may feel like replying or reacting to the situation in a particular way, through the meditation we have learned to observe our own mind, observe our own thoughts and urges. So right there, if someone is telling something, if we feel the urge to say or do something, and we notice it, we observe it, and we have a second thought: is this the best reaction? Will it solve the problem, or can I react differently? So rather than acting out of impulsively acting, you will choose the word that you want to say, and you will select the response you want to do. So that's the kind of skill we develop.
I did have to change my tone. Well, I never said anything. I'm always silent. Because I'm too silent, that's why. I'm to myself, by myself, and I practice silent all by myself. And this is where this happens.
Yeah, actually.
I'm too silent, and I say nothing. So, the Lola now starting to take the way she's young, she's living her life. I think this is what I did change. But I started when I meditated, they would come into my mind because I could feel the surrounding. So I had to stand up.
Yeah.
Face.
Yeah.
I had to stand up and face what I never faced, and then change it. And now they don't come around my place to annoy, but I said, let them go outside. Now I can meditate. I know they're not around. And I had to change a lot of things.
Yeah, sometimes.
But hate can come into I started
Yeah.
hating your point, and I had to change that to I shouldn't hate, but just
Be more little bit more skillful.
be more mindful. And I'm starting to meditate more.
Yeah.
I'm actually working it out.
Thank you. So, any other challenge? Yeah.
So I sit to meditate and I use my breath from my body as an anchor. As an anchor. I use my breath from my body. What do you think about at that point when I'm comfortable, I'm settled, I've arrived? Did I use you just mentioned conscious awareness. I use my own conscious awareness as the subject of meditation instead of the breath as an object.
Yes, you can do that actually. So, and if you follow the structure of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, for Satipatthanas. So, one is the body awareness, and there are different ways we can be aware of the body. We just learn only one way, like scan the body, but we can also contemplate 32 parts of the body, and we can contemplate the posture. We did that. So there are many ways, and then we can also use our sensations as another foundation of mindfulness, and we can also use our mind itself, the status of the mind, as a foundation to settle our mindfulness. And also we can also use our thoughts and emotions also. So yes, we can do that. We can do that. We can explore. We can see whether it's an agitated state or a peaceful state, whether it is a constricted state, whether it is a more expansive, free state. So we can contemplate on that. But so either we can select use it as another anchor, and then go into a deeper and deeper and deeper level of calmness that you feel such a serene joy, or it's like like going beyond the gravity, and then yeah. So either you can so either you can select to enjoy that kind of peace, or maybe you can decide to develop more wisdom about this this whole experience occurring. So then once you kind of manage to stay firm without being distracted by external things or internal thoughts, and then once you establish that stability, calmness, and you stay there, you kind of enjoy that state for a while, and then you develop more kind of open awareness. Rather than try to be with the object of the meditation, you kind of open a little bit, slow a little bit, and now you want to watch the impermanence, maybe the arising and the passing away of any experience. So you have the object of meditation as a main focus, but you have a little bit open awareness. And if you happen to hear a sound, or if you happen to have an itch, or if you happen to have any other, even a thought, and in Vipassana technique, we want to use any experience occurring to our consciousness. We want to see the arising of it, how it came to be with causes and condition, and how it doesn't stay even for a while and dissipate. And so even an itch, you observe how it occurs, and you observe its changing phases of the itch, and you directly experience the passing away of that itch. You can do it with the same with a sound, and the same with a thought. So you're simply observing this arising and passing away of any experience that happened to occur to us, and then also experience and also directly see that how these things are not fully satisfying. I mean, they are not really reliable. They are kind of fleeting and changing. They are not fully satisfying. At the same time, impersonal nature of it, non-self, impersonal nature. It's not something that we control. These causes and conditions produce these things, and so and try to directly experience the impersonal nature. So you can decide whether you want to enjoy it or whether you want to develop wisdom. Any other question? I think the very common problem that we always have would be like how to deal with these unnecessary thoughts. And of course, sleepiness or drowsiness is something that we experience, and we know that if we keep our chin, if we keep our nice posture, it is helping, and even we can open our eyes, and then then we can continue to meditate. And there's also another technique to overcome our lethargic nature, that is to visualize a bright light. That's also given as a technique, visualizing.
When you sleep at night, you can do that with visualizing.
Yeah. So visualizing like a very bright light right in front of you, that can also help to overcome sleepiness. But I think the most challenging obstacle, the last thing that you have to deal with, the last obstacle, even if you really progress, advance, and the last obstacle for us to deal with is our unnecessary thoughts. So don't be upset that these thoughts are disturbing you. I mean, we keep remembering things, having different kinds of thoughts, and it's not something wrong with you. It's a neural habit. As long as we have healthy brains, those thoughts will keep popping up. That's normal. That's how we live our life. But right here, we just want to have freedom from them. So, since it is happening as a result of a habit, any habit is strengthened if we repeat the habit. So, when these thoughts are popping up, and if we catch them and entertain them, like continue them, and feed them, think along the same line more and more, then that pattern will get strong. But if we learn to simply observe them, notice them, and see them from above, and then those habits will be weaker and weaker. It will take some time. So you will not be free from wandering thoughts at once. What's going to happen? In the beginning, you will remember something and you will develop thoughts about it. You try to fix that problem while you are in the seat. You try to, and the whole fantasy will happen. And after some time, you realize, oh, I'm thinking. So the more we practice, what's going to happen? The duration of your recognition will be shorter. Earlier, you recognize after you fix a problem. But later, you'll be able to notice it, before it develops to a whole story. And then the other change will be we will have so many thoughts, in a given time. But then more we observe them, more we notice them, rather than feeding them. And then the frequency of these thoughts will also be reduced. So it's a gradual, slow, progress that will happen to us. So therefore, so as long as we can observe and catch our thoughts, we are okay with that.
But not all our thoughts are true. Our thoughts can lead us to the wrong direction too. Our thoughts.
Say again?
Our thoughts are not always true. I mean, it's not always taking us to the right direction. Sometimes we make decisions.
It's thoughts actually, thoughts occur to us out of our habitual patterns. Because we have been, because each one of us will have different kind of thoughts. It's very unique to each individual. Because we have, been conditioned and trained and developed those habitual patterns, uniquely. So therefore, it's a repetition of a habit. So they are not necessarily true.
No, it's not.
No.
All the time. Sometimes.
Yeah. So I think one thing we can also do is trusting that no matter how many thoughts, how powerful thoughts, even an emotion like grief, sadness, or even anger or fear, no matter how strong is our thought or emotion, trusting that there's always an element of awareness, element of mindfulness present in the same mind. So it's like clouds and the sky. So no matter how heavy clouds are there, there's always a sky behind it, right? So in the same way, no matter how many thoughts are occurring in our mind, how much emotions are functioning in the mind, just remembering that if I want, I can step back. I can step back and kind of go above and be in the sky. It's not really, when we are in the sky, we are not really destroying the cloud. It's not really removing the cloud. Cloud will still be there. But we are not in the cloud, we are in the sky. That means we are not really removing the thoughts, we are simply becoming aware of the thought. So the moment you become aware of the thoughts and acknowledge, oh, thoughts, you are above thoughts. Still those emotion thoughts will, stay for a while, but you are not feeding them. You are not in the thought, you are in the awareness, in the mindfulness. So just knowing that I can shift to the sky, not to the cloud. I may be in the cloud, but I can shift, I can move myself to the sky. And having that trust in yourself can help you a lot. So no matter how many thoughts, how many emotions you have, even in normal life, not even in meditation, but in a normal situation, you are driving, you remember something, really get angry about it, and then having all these emotions, and then suddenly you can be aware, oh, what I'm thinking, and move to the awareness part, and still those thoughts will start to come and stay for a while. But if you become aware of it, and you can gradually loosen the power of it.
We always could shift figure and ground.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
I'm
you
looking
can.
at you, but now I see Buddha.
Yes, you can be in the cloud or be in the sky. Maybe jump back to the cloud and again go back to the sky. That happens. Yeah, that happens very often. Any other question? Well, then we can do the last meditation, 15 minutes. So let's sit for the last session. It's going to be short because we will be also sharing the merits. I think now you have full, toolbox how to deal with any obstacles. So try to utilize them now. And we will have a good session together. Adjust your body. Make sure that you feel balanced and stable. As usual, we start with the body awareness. I take a deep, long breath. Release that air, relaxing everything. And try to find a place in your body that you have more prominent sensations now. Maybe your legs touching the ground. Maybe your hands touching each other. Maybe your back. Wherever. Just identify an area where you have more prominent sensations. Just establish your awareness there. Feel that area very closely. Explore the details of the sensations. So listen to the sound of the bell to further gather our attention to this moment. Throughout the bell, stay in that place. Continue to explore those sensations. Let us now enhance our awareness of the body, moving beyond that particular area and then catching the sensations in other parts of the body. Observe your lower legs, the whole leg area, around your knees and lower legs, and feel how they are touching the ground now, how much tightness we can feel in those areas. Just notice and observe. And move the attention up and observe where your body meets the cushion. Feel the pressed muscles. Acknowledge the weight of the body, the balance of the body. Bringing that same attention to the whole back area and noticing whatever sensations available there, wherever we feel our clothes in that whole back area. And bringing the same awareness to our hands, observing our arms and the palms and fingers. And bringing the same attention to your belly area, feeling the subtle movement in the belly and the chest. Moving to your face, noticing all the subtle sensations throughout the face, feeling the eyeballs, nostrils, let us simply settle in this body. With this awareness of the body, we can guard ourselves. We can keep ourselves firm and grounded, not to be dragged all different directions. So rejoice. Rejoice this ability to feel the body and be grounded in the present moment, and not to be a victim or a slave to our senses or to our habitual patterns in the mind. We are doing it right now, so let us rejoice. At the same time, let us develop a deep gratitude towards our Supreme Buddha for giving us such wonderful techniques to help us to be free from suffering. Although we haven't fully become free, but we have the technique, we have the path. It is due to the compassion and great wisdom of the Buddha that we got all these gifts of the Dhamma. We are deeply grateful towards the Buddha. Enhance your appreciation, your gratitude, and your confidence in the Buddha. How lucky we are to be able to find this teaching. With this deep gratitude, for next few minutes, let us rest our mind with our breath. Still keeping the general wider awareness of the body, feeling the hands, the legs, the back and the front. And notice the breath right in the middle of the body. And first few breaths, try to make it long and feel it fully. Making it long breath and feeling the sensation, and then simply let the breath come to normal pattern. nibbhaya sokappatace nisukha hontu sabbepi panino. May all those who are suffering be free from suffering. May all those who are in fear be free from fear. May all those who are grieving be free from grief. May all beings be well and happy. Let's gently come out of the meditation. Let us put our palms together. Let's take a moment to feel grateful again for this wonderful day. Let us first of all deeply feel grateful for the profound teachings of our Supreme Buddha, and deeply feel grateful for that. And also feel grateful to all enlightened masters and teachers lived in the past who passed this wisdom from generation to generation. Let us also feel grateful to anyone who organized this retreat, who worked hard, who provided the resources, food and everything. Whoever spent time to organize this, let us feel grateful to all of them. Let us also feel grateful for anyone who supported our practice, and even to these non-living things, including this cushion, the bell, the cooling system and everything. And also to this device that help you to connect to this meditation from home. So with deep gratitude, let us say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So let us now share the merits. Throughout the day we engage in this wholesome meritorious activity. We were able to keep our mind free from defilements most of the time. When you contemplate on the teachings of the Buddha, when you do the meditation, our mind was free from unwholesome thoughts, free from defilements, and then that such a pure mind has generated so much goodness, so much good karma, good merits, and we can share these good merits with others. Let us take a moment to first of all to share our merits with our most respected Venerable Sir, and who actually initiated and founded this place for us to practice, our most Venerable Chief Monk and most Venerable Bhante Vitisanayaka Mahatheru. Let us share these merits with him, and let us wish him to continue his compassionate service to these whole sentient beings, and may he continue his journey towards the enlightenment, and may he shower his blessings upon you, all of us. So with that wish, we will share this merits to our most Venerable Nayaka Hamdru, and also to any other monk who provided their services to us. Let us share these merits with all other monks, and also to anyone who helped to found this place, and anyone who contributed and supported this place to continue and to maintain that we have this opportunity to practice today. Let us share our merits with all the people who helped to build this place and who have passed away now, and all the Daikas and everyone. And also to anyone in our own family who have passed away. Let us think about them and share these merits with them all. With these thoughts, let us chant together. Idang mi ñātīnaṃ hotu sukita huntu ñātayo idam ñātinam hotu sukita huntu ñātayo idam ñātinam hotu sukita huntu ñātayo. Let us also share this merit with all other beings. If there's any being in this world who would like to share this merit, may he or she do so. May all living beings, including all the celestial divine beings, may they all share this merit. May they rejoice in these merits. May they be well, happy and peaceful wherever they may be. Ittavata ca amhi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. You can take your chanting booklet, and there's a sharing merits and aspiration part in the 5th page. Sharing merits and aspiration. So let us read together. Sharing merits, did you find it? Okay, yeah. Let us read together. By the blessings that have arisen from my practice, may my venerable preceptors and teachers who have helped me, mother, father and relatives, male and female rulers, worldly powers, virtuous human beings, the higher beings, demons and high gods, the guardian deities of the world and celestial beings, the Lord of death, friendly people, indifferent and hostile, may all beings be well. May the skillful deeds done by me bring you the threefold bliss. May this quickly bring you to the deathless. By means of this meritorious deed and through this aspiration, may I quickly attain the cutting off of craving and clinging. Whatever faults I have until I am liberated, may they quickly perish. Wherever I am born, may there be an upright mind, mindfulness and wisdom, austerity and vigor. May no harmful influences weaken my efforts. The Buddha is the unsurpassed protector. The Dhamma is the supreme protection. Peerless is the silent Buddha. The Sangha is my true refuge. By the power of these exalted ones, may I rise above all defilements. By means of this meritorious deed, may I never join with the foolish. May I join always with the wise, until the time I attain Nibbana. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. From the highest realm of existence to the lowest, may all beings arising in these realms, with form and without form, with perception and without perception, be released from all suffering and attain to perfect peace. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Honorable Sir, dear friends of the Dhamma, I would like to express sincere thanks and also honor to Bhante, who accepted our invitation and also came here, and also he shared his knowledge, experiences with us, with our supporters. I would like to thank again and also his teacher who taught him and trained him, and also this Bhante's father, mother and all the family members, and also his immediate family members. We will share and transfer these merits, wishing happy samsaric journey. And also Bhante, may you have courage, patience, understanding, and also determination to practice more and more dharma, and have strength and also courage to serve our people more and more, explore the dharma. And thank you again, all of you. May you be well, happy and peace. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And also this Bhante again will come to this temple for a preaching Dhamma or Dharma Desana on September 3rd. Right, Hamlu?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And in the evening, 7:30 till 8:30, 9 o'clock, and you can come and participate. That's.
But
thank you.
today, right? Today also, right?
Today also we have 6:30. We have today Dharma Desana. We'll give this Bhante 6:30 to 7:30 today in the evening, and also I mentioned another time he will come here on September 3rd.
Actually, I did not confirm that, he's trying to,
Now we already have.
So that was
Yes. September 3rd.
Yeah, I had double check. I have to check my calendar over there.
Ada pikir
Puja ka?
puja kelani.
Before we end together.
And also the friends, lot of people, our supporters, helped and supported for our this session and one day retreat, bringing food, beverages, and also helping, and lot of works they have done. So I would like to share merits with them, and may all they be well, happy and peace. May all they attain ultimate peace. Thank you. Yeah. Put the mood with it. Again 6:30. Oh.